What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Talks with Chepe. Today, we're going to talk about something that I thought was weird at first and took me some time to be convinced on, and that is that we are living in a simulation. Yes, I'm not crazy. I thought about it for a long time, and this is my take on it. So let's get started. All right, so take a second for a moment and think of this something with me right now. What if everything that's around us is not real? Everyone that we've met, everyone that we know, it's just part of a simulation, and they were just programmed to be there. Love, programmed. Hate, programmed. Everything that we know is all part of a simulation that is bigger than us. So it sounds crazy, and I never really thought anything about this because I'm a pretty much devout Christian. I have some Christian beliefs, but I watched the movie The Matrix, I want to say about a week or so with a couple of friends, and it made me really think, what if that's what we're really living? So I've heard about this before in the past with Elon Musk, and he's done Ep.6 about it. He's done TED Talks. He's done videos about it on YouTube. And he mentioned a professor from Oxford called Nick Bostrom. So I went and took it upon myself to, look up what he actually meant and wanted to say. And a lot of the stuff that he said fucking blew my mind. So the concept is that human beings have been on this planet for about 7 to 8,000 years, give or take, depending on the carbon dating that you're looking at. And within that time frame, we've been able to go from discovering fire to inventing the wheel to fucking going to the moon to now the current computer situation that we are now. And by I mean situation, I mean that these realities that we're able to create through video games like Minecraft, Fortnite, you name it. Oh, there's a whole bunch of video games that you can name, and the list can go on and on. So the idea is that who's to say that that's not what's going on right now? And stay with me for just a moment. So he's saying that humans have progressed with such advancement in technology that 10,000 years from now, is it really far-fetched to think that we've created a computer that is able to simulate everything that we know as what it is? And he calls this ancestral simulation. So what he means by that is that there is a being of higher intelligence, whether it's us, an alien life form, whatever it is, that has a computing power to create a universe in which we perceive everything, that only our conscious mind is real, and due to the computing power that this is giving off, we're able to see everything around us. So to give you a visualization of how big of a computer we would need for that, the computing power that would need to be output based on the research that he's done would be a computer that has an output of 10 to the 42, which is the size pretty much of a Earth, a planet. Or you can have multiple satellite planets with computers all intertwined like a satellite system, which the computing power is able to maintain itself. That doesn't sound so crazy if you ask me. I mean, think about the times we live in now. We're pretty much sending satellites into space to give internet to everybody, and we live in pretty much a linked world through the internet. So who's to say 10,000, 1,000, how many years it is, the way that technology is moving, that there isn't a higher being or something that's computing everything? So with that being said, he's saying that there's either two possibilities, three, realistically, I'll touch base on those, that either we live in a simulation or we don't. And the odds is 50-50. But then you really start to think about that's only if there's only one computer doing that. What if there's multiple beings or humans or whatever you want to call it, creating multiple simulations at a time? There can be billions and billions and billions, to call Donald Trump, billions and billions and billions of universes out there. So that means, like, say, for example, there's 4 other universes or simulations, I mean. That means that there's a 75% chance that we're in a simulation. Just think about it, 75% chance that we're in a simulation. What the fuck? So that means that the coffee I had this morning isn't real, but my mind thought it was real, so I had to think it was real. The counter argument to that saying that, how can that even be possible? So he says that either human beings go extinct based on either a natural disaster like climate change or nuclear war or an asteroid or something that just rids us of existence, like dinosaurs. Or human beings have the moral compass inside them to not create a simulation like this because they've seen in the past the suffering that people go through. But if you ask me, human beings aren't like that. From everything that I've seen and people seen, you can say that human beings have a fucking sick mind and they want to see how far we can go with certain things. I mean, look at we fucking pretty much are doing simulation now. We created an AI technology in which we have a robot named Sophia that has its own conscious mind and it goes about its role based on what we program it. And to build off of that too, in reality, we're limited to the mathematics and the physics that we're given to based on the laws that we've discovered, like gravity, speed of light, calculus, and things like that. So that's our binary code. We cannot exceed that. We cannot go past it. That's what we are limited to. We'll never be able to get to the speed of light. We just can't, mathematically speaking. So maybe that's what our limit is. We see it all the time in video games. If you go and you make a video game, you put in your own binary code, you give it its own laws of physics, and you type in a code and the game does what it needs to do. It doesn't question anything. It doesn't know that it's real or not. It just does it. So who's to say that we're not living that? We're not programmed. Like, that fucking blows my mind. Think about it. Your life is completely changed forever if this is true. That means that you have no free will. This idea that was given to us since we were kids that, like, oh, you can do whatever you want. No, you can't. You're programmed to live a certain lifestyle. You'll never be more than what you think you'll be, and you'll never be less. This is what you're meant to do. This is how you're going to die. And this is how you're going to be programmed for the rest of your life. Some people even go to say that the Mandela effect is pretty much an example of us living in a simulation. People do it all the time. You could have sworn that you saw something. Multiple people say, oh, I could have sworn it was this way, but it wasn't. And then you go back into it and it fucking changed, and now you're old mind fucked. But you know what? You don't question it. You just go on with your daily life because it's such a minuscule thing. What if that's a glitch in our software and we catch it for a moment, but then we realize that it's not that big of a thing to worry about? They even say that our programmer, if there is one, is so fucked up that they throw in a little fucking. You ever play that game back when you were in high school that, well, at least in my generation, where you can create your own virus or whatever it is and you can wipe out the human species or see what happens? Who's to say they're not doing that right now with the coronavirus? Who's to say that they're not giving us hints that we are in simulation? Look at the fucking Simpsons. The Simpsons has been around since the fucking 80s. They've predicted so many shit, from 9/11, from Donald Trump to the coronavirus to an extent of Kobe Bryant dying. The list goes on. And people have shown videos. You can go on YouTube and search, and there's fucking videos everywhere of showing that they've predicted certain stuff. So who's to say that that doesn't happen? Makes you really question things. Just stop and think about it for once. Another thing too is, why are we so, quick to say that we have a God? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. Maybe that's the being that we are thinking that's programming us. It really makes you stop to think about everything. Look at virtual reality. Like I said earlier in the episode, that's pretty much us plugging in like the Matrix. Oh, fuck, I had a long day at work. Oh, my fucking wife is ragging on me. Da-da-da, I'm gonna get a beer and plug in. Shit, we even have fucking virtual reality porn now. Think about that. You don't even have to have fucking real life sex. You can just log in, fucking put your virtual reality set in, and fucking have sex virtually. I mean, if you ask me, that's fucking weird, but you can do it. Our technology is fucking limitless. And you mean to tell me that it's so far-fetched that there's a higher intelligent being out there that they can have a computer program that's making this all happen? The universe is huge. You're going to tell me that there's no other life forms out there that sometimes they come and see, oh, what's this person doing? Oh, what's that person doing? What if they're visiting our reality? They plug in and they come visit our consciousness. I think it's just something to think about. I never really gave it thought until just recently. Like I said, it all started by just watching the movie Matrix, and it just happened that I started watching these other things. It blew my mind. I've actually went around and asked a couple of people what they thought, and they all pretty much thought the same way I did, which I was in shock. But you have to think about it. It's not that far fetched once you really do your research. And I tell people, do your own research. I'm not a scientist. I don't have a fucking PhD. I'm just a schmuck who decided one day to start a fucking podcast and talk about stuff that I fucking read. So do your own research and come up with your own opinion. You know, I would love to hear from you guys. Send me a message, leave me a comment. You can actually find this video if you're working now, because I know Phase 3 started on Long Island. You can find me on YouTube with Talks with Chepe. Leave me a comment. I'll get back to you. Let's have the conversation. You can find me on Facebook at Willie Flores. You can find me on Instagram at Willie Flores 63. Or you can find me on Twitter, tweet me, send me a DM at the real Don Chepe. Let's have a bit of conversation. I want to know what everyone thinks. So thank you for tuning in to another episode of Talks with Chepe. I love you all. Maybe with this episode was all brought to you by our higher being simulating it, and that you're programmed to listen to it. Who knows? But thanks again for listening. Share it with your friends. Tell your mother. Tell everyone. I love you all. Stay safe out there and enjoy the rest of your week and have a great weekend.